Let's get right into it. Number 10. The phantom name call. You're just sitting there, minding your own business, scrolling through memes or staring into the abyss of your fridge, when you suddenly hear it, your name. Soft, familiar, real. You whip around like a startled meerkat. Nobody's there. Congratulations. You've just been personally haunted by your own brain. This isn't a ghost or your neighbor messing with you. It's something called an auditory hallucination, but don't freak out yet. Your brain's job is to predict the world, and it's so eager to be right that sometimes it just invents the sound it expects. You've heard your name thousands of times, so your brain has it on speed dial. It's like an overenthusiastic receptionist shouting, "Oh, that's for me," when no one called. Your name is special. It's the verbal equivalent of a spotlight. Even in a noisy crowd, you'll catch it instantly. Psychologists call this the cocktail party effect. It's the reason you can tune out every boring conversation at a party but still snap to attention when someone says your name across the room. Your brain has tagged it as high-priority data, like a life or death alert. So when your environment goes quiet, your brain sometimes fills that silence with what it expects to hear most. You being summoned. It's basically your mind's push notification system malfunctioning. No ghost, no psychic signal, just neurons firing an overzealous, "Hey, pay attention," because they got bored. Number 9. Brain static. Imagine your brain as an old radio. Most of the time, it's tuned to the right station: music, voices, background life noise. But sometimes the dial drifts, and you catch a flicker of static that almost sounds like someone whispering your name. That's not creepy spirits. That's your auditory cortex improvising. Your brain doesn't actually hear sound. It decodes vibrations and fills in the blanks with best guesses. So when it's tired, anxious, or overstimulated, that best guess turns into a glitch. You might swear someone called you, but really your neurons just burped out an auditory mirage. Researchers have noticed this happens more when you're isolated, stressed, or running on 4 hours of sleep and caffeine fumes. It's not that you're losing it. It's that your brain's noise filter is on vacation. Think of it like background apps on your phone draining battery for no reason. The real kicker? People who hear their name when no one's around often have perfectly normal brains, just slightly overactive auditory processing. It's your mind's way of saying, "I'm still here. Please don't ignore me." Basically, you're your own imaginary friend now. Number 8. The attention trap. Your brain's attention system is like a clingy cat. It hates being ignored. So when you're zoning out, daydreaming, bored, or halfway between sleep and wake, it starts throwing pebbles at your window. Sometimes those pebbles sound like your name. This is what scientists call selective attention priming. You're so used to hearing your name as a cue to focus that your brain keeps it loaded and ready to deploy. When your surroundings get too quiet, your mind checks, "Should we be alert right now?" And if it doesn't get an answer, it triggers the sound itself. It's basically your brain saying, "Hey, are you paying attention to me?" while you're just trying to exist in peace. And because your name is your most emotionally loaded word, it carries every memory of being called, scolded, praised. It packs enough emotional charge to jolt you even when it's imaginary. So if you've ever jerked your head up from half-asleep mode like, "Did someone just, oh," that's not paranoia. That's your internal notification system pinging itself for attention. Your own brain yelling your name because no one else will. Number 7. Echoes of memory. Here's where things get eerie. Sometimes hearing your name isn't about the present. It's about your past echoing. Memory and perception use the same brain regions, especially in the temporal lobe. So when you recall someone calling your name, your mom, your teacher, your ex yelling across a parking lot, those same neurons light up as if it's happening right now. The line between memory and reality blurs faster than you think. That's why a random sound in your house can morph into your name, perfectly pitched like someone you used to know. Your auditory cortex fills in the missing details using familiar memory patterns, basically deep-faking reality in your head. It's not haunted. It's nostalgia gone rogue. And if you grew up constantly being called or yelled at, you know who you are, your brain's more likely to misfire that name sound. It's learned that hearing your name equals, get ready, something's happening. So when it's quiet, it replays the audio file for old time's sake. Basically, your brain is an overdramatic movie director replaying emotional flashbacks for no audience. Thanks, buddy. Number 6. The sleep borderline. You know that weird moment when you're just about to fall asleep and your brain decides to audition for a horror movie? A sudden bang, a falling sensation, or someone whispering your name. Yeah, welcome to the hypnagogic zone where your brain's logic takes a coffee break. When you drift between wakefulness and sleep, your sensory systems start misfiring. Your auditory cortex, the part that processes sound, can spontaneously activate, producing fake noises that feel ridiculously real. Combine that with the fact that your name is the most emotionally triggering sound in your personal database, and boom, you hear a whisper that doesn't exist. It's basically your brain's closing time malfunction. Half your mind is clocking out, the other half still overthinking the text you sent 3 hours ago. The result is dream logic bleeding into reality. You're technically hallucinating, but in a chill, everybody does it kind of way. Scientists think this happens because as your consciousness powers down, your brain's reality filter weakens. The same filter that stops you from, say, mistaking thoughts for sounds or dreams for memories. In this twilight phase, neurons that would normally respond to external sound start firing without input, creating your very own DIY ghost call. So no, it's not a spirit. It's just your brain saying, night night. Wait, one last jump scare before you go. Number 5. Loneliness echoes. Let's talk about the human brain's worst addiction, attention. We crave connection so much that when we don't get it, our brain starts simulating it. That's why people who spend long periods alone, like living solo, working remotely, or just being too online, report hearing their name called more often. Loneliness literally changes how your auditory system works. When deprived of social interaction, the brain becomes hypervigilant to any sign of communication. It's like it's desperately scanning the airwaves for company. So if you hear your name faintly in the distance, that's not madness. It's your brain trying to make a friend out of thin air. Psychologists call this social craving. It's the same mechanism that makes you imagine your phone buzzing when it didn't. You're wired for contact. The moment it's missing, your sensory system starts to pretend. It's sad, sure, but kind of poetic. You're literally haunted by your own need to belong. The human mind hates silence so much, it fills it with a phantom voice that says your name, just to remind you you're still here. Basically, you're not crazy. You're just lonely enough for your neurons to start role-playing as your friends. Number 4. The stress distortion. Ever been so stressed you start hearing things? Not like full-on conspiracy radio hearing things. More like faint noises, voices, or your name slipping through the static of your overworked mind. Turns out, anxiety and sensory perception are terrible roommates. When you're anxious, your brain ramps up your amygdala, the fear processing hub. This increases alertness, but at a cost. Your sensory filters get overwhelmed. You start noticing microsounds, echoes, air pressure changes, things you'd normally tune out. Your brain, already in fight or flight mode, tries to categorize those noises, and since your name is the most familiar auditory pattern, it fills in the blanks with that. Stress basically turns your hearing into a paranoid detective. Overanalyzing, overinterpreting, and jumping to conclusions. It's like your brain hears a creaking floorboard and decides, yeah, probably someone's summoning you. There's a twisted logic to it. In stressful situations, being called could mean something important, danger, alert, attention. So your mind replays that scenario just in case. It's protective, in the same way wearing 12 layers of bubble wrap is protective. So the next time you swear you heard your name during a stress spiral, remember, it's not ghosts. It's just your brain trying to keep you safe by throwing jump scares at you. Number 3. The auditory pareidolia effect. You know how people see faces in clouds or Jesus on a piece of toast? That's pareidolia, the brain's talent for finding meaning where none exists. Turns out your ears do it too. Auditory pareidolia happens when your brain tries to make sense of random noise. Wind, fans, traffic, air conditioning, and thinks, that sounded like a word. Wait, was that my name? The auditory cortex is wired to detect language patterns even in chaos, because communication is survival. The problem is, it's too good at it. It hears intention in nonsense. Basically, your brain is running a real-time conspiracy theory against background noise. It finds a pattern, convinces itself it's meaningful, and bam, you think someone called you. This is why you might hear phantom voices in white noise, music, or even running water. Your mind wants order so badly it manufactures it. Psychologists say this tendency is strongest in creative people. Translation: your imagination is so vivid it occasionally gaslights you. So no, that whisper from the wind wasn't a ghost. It was just your brain's version of, hey, that cloud looks like a dog. Number 2. The inner voice glitch. Here's a weird thought. What if that voice calling your name isn't external at all, but coming from inside your head? Not in a creepy exorcist way, just your internal monologue having a volume control issue. Everyone's got that inner narrator. The voice that says stuff like, don't forget the milk, or asterisk. Why did I say that thing from 2016? Asterisk. Normally, you recognize it as you. But under fatigue, stress, or sensory overload, your brain can misclassify it. For a split second, your thoughts sound like they came from outside. This happens because of a brain region called the temporal parietal junction, which helps you distinguish between self-generated sounds and external ones. When it gets confused, like during exhaustion or emotional burnout, it stops labeling your inner voice correctly. So, your brain literally pranks itself. It's the same reason some people think they heard someone shout when they were just thinking about being called. Your brain misfiles the thought as a sensory experience. It's like writing yourself an email, forgetting you sent it, and being surprised when it shows up in your inbox. Some psychologists even think this misattribution error is a baby cousin of the same mechanism involved in actual auditory hallucinations in conditions like schizophrenia, but again, in your case, it's just your mental software lagging. So when you hear your name out of nowhere, it's not a ghost, and it's not proof you're losing it. It's just your internal narrator forgetting it's supposed to be internal. Number 1. The Evolutionary Echo. Here's the ultimate twist. Your brain is supposed to do this. Hearing your name when no one's around is actually a leftover survival feature from your evolutionary wiring. Early humans needed hypersensitive hearing to stay alive. Detecting your name, or even a faint shout, could mean the difference between being eaten by a lion or warned in time. Your auditory system evolved to overreact, not underreact. Better to think you heard something and be wrong than to ignore it and die snack-sized. That system never turned off. Even now, your brain constantly scans your environment for your name, danger words, or emotional tones. It's called hypervigilance bias. It's the reason parents swear they hear their baby cry when the house is silent, or why soldiers fresh from deployment flinch at distant noises. Your brain isn't just listening, it's predicting. It fills in what it expects to hear based on memory, emotion, and survival instinct. And since your name is your ultimate alert word, your brain's on high alert for it all the time. So, every time you hear your name out of nowhere, that's ancient wiring saying, hey, someone might need you, even if someone is just your brain playing both sides of the conversation. Basically, evolution made your hearing system paranoid on purpose. Your brain would rather spook you than risk missing something important. You're not haunted, you're just a highly sophisticated anxiety machine with a legacy of prehistoric jump scares. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.